सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री सरस्वत्यै नमः। ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। हरि ओम। Our topic for today is an overview of the means of knowledge, pramana. We have seen an overview of Indian knowledge systems with respect to the Vidya Sthanas, the 14 or 18 places of knowledge, the scriptures, what we call as overview of that we have seen. We have also seen darshanas, different schools of philosophy, in short, overview of it. Whilst seeing darshanas, we had made one very important point, and that is all the darshanas have three main topics, or rather they are based on basic triad called as Triputi. Triputi of Pramata, Prameya and Pramana. We also said that different darshanas may focus on different thing out of these three. They may give importance to different. Some darshana may give importance to Pramata, some may give to Prameya, some may give to Pramana, but Pramana, Vichara, etc. happens in almost all the darshanas. So from there we have to start now. Pramana itself is a shastra. Last time we have seen the concept of shastra also. Pramana itself is considered as shastra, Pramana shastra, which is generally translated into English and Western philosophy as epistemology. Epistemology means Pramana shastra. The discussion is entirely on the means of knowledge. Now, this knowledge word, when we are using, often we use the word jnana in Sanskrit. Knowledge, jnana. But actually speaking, now what we are talking about is cognition. Cognition means correct knowledge, or correct cognition is what we are going to talk about. So a better word for that in Sanskrit is prama. Prama. Prama means correct knowledge or correct cognition. Jnana can be wrong knowledge also. But prama means correct cognition. Now with respect to this word prama, now the remaining three words, three terms you will understand. Pramata. Pramata means pramayaha karta, the subject, one who gets this cognition, gets the prama. Prameya, the object of cognition. Pramayaha vishayaha. And pramanam, pramayaha karanam, the means for that correct cognition. Right? So pramana means what? Means of knowledge or means of cognition. Let us add one more word to it. We said pramana means what? Pramayaha karanam, means of knowledge. Let us say pramayaha asadharana karanam pramanam. Asadharana means what? Sadharana means general. Asadharana means specific. I'll give you example and you will understand. The first pramana that we are going to see is pratyaksha pramana, direct perception. Now for me to be able to see any object, many things are required. Remember, light should be there in the room, isn't it? My eyes should be open, my mind should be there, but all of that I am not going to call as asadharana karana. These are all general things that are required in any perception. But the specific means is called as pramana. Asadharana means specific. So, for correct cognition, what is the specific means? That is called as pramana. Pramayaha asadharana karanam pramanam. Now, in Vedanta Shastra, in Vedanta Darshana, Vedanta accepts 6 pramanas, more than any other darshanas. Okay. So, we will be studying all 6 pramanas. What are they? Pratyaksha, Anumana. First write in Sanskrit, then we will see the English meaning of it as we study each one. Pratyaksha, Anumana, Upamana, Pratyaksha, Anumana, Upamana, Arthapatti, Anupalabdhi, and Shabda Pramana, and Shabda. So, Pratyaksha, Anumana, Upamana, Arthapatti, Anupalabdhi, Shabda. These 6 pramanas we are going to discuss. Now, as I had told that in darshanas, not that every single school will investigate into everything. From other school, they will take whatever is accepted. So, actually speaking, the first 3, that is Pratyaksha, Anumana, Upamana, and the last one, Shabda, lot of discussion and reflection has happened in Nyaya Darshana. So, Vedanta accepts that as it is. Whatever Nyaya Darshana is explaining about these 4 pramanas, Vedanta accepts. Nyaya Darshana accepts 4 pramanas actually. Pratyaksha, Anumana, Upamana, and Shabda. Okay, they don't accept Arthapatti, Anupalabdhi. We will come to that, why, etc. So, this whole, what we say, analysis about these 4 pramanas is actually done by Nyaya Darshana. Nyaya is logic. Okay, so analysis is also going to be very logical. So, let us see one by one all these 6 pramanas we will see. First is Pratyaksha Pramana. Pratyaksha Pramana means what? Perception, direct perception. Aksham prati Pratyaksham. Pratyaksham means what? Prati aksham. Aksham, eye. Prati means towards. So, here eye means not only the physical eye, but all the 5 senses together. So, what the means by which we know an object through its contact with the senses, that is called as Pratyaksha Pramana. Again, what is Pratyaksha Pramana? The means by which we know an object by its direct contact with the senses is called as Pratyaksha Pramana. What is this in my hand? It is a watch. Now, when I say it is a watch, what is happening? This prama is born in my mind. Prama means correct cognition. What is that? This is a watch. How is this prama born? This prama is born through direct perception. This is watch. Why? Because I see watch. I am seeing direct. Now, when that is happening also, through my ears I may be hearing a bell from the temple. I know it is a bell. How that happened? Direct perception. See, perception doesn't just necessarily mean only eyes, okay? It means all five senses, whatever I perceive directly. Many times you would have also heard the word paroksha. Paroksha means what? Parasya aksham. Para means somebody else has seen. That is not called as pratyaksha. And therefore I want to see by my own eyes. We will always say this, isn't it? Unless I see by my own eyes, I will not believe. Pratyaksha pramana. Pratyaksha pramana means direct perception. Now this pratyaksha pramana actually is most commonly accepted pramana. All darshanas accept this pramana, pratyaksha. Everybody accepts. What I see is, I know when I see it. Right? That is there everywhere. Also interesting thing about this pratyaksha pramana is, it doesn't necessarily require any other cognition in between. No intermediate cognition is required. I see watch and I know it is a watch. I don't have to do any inference or postulation, nothing else is required. We will see in other pramanas, pratyaksha will be required. We'll see. But in pratyaksha pramana, no intermediate cognition is required other than pratyaksha. So, pratyaksha. See, actually speaking, all these are very, what we say, deep topics. On pratyaksha pramana itself, we can speak for hours. Okay, but we are just seeing the overview of it. Okay, so we are not going into too much of detail. Generally, how Vedanta explains pratyaksha pramana also is, how do I perceive? Take for example, through eyes, when I perceive some form, how do I perceive that form? So, the scientific part of it we all know, that the sunlight or any light falls on that object, gets reflected, enters into my eye, then in that eye an image of that object is formed, then behind that there is brain which understands the image, inverts it again, and that's how I see. That's what science says, isn't it? Vedanta says little different. It goes little one step further and says, what actually happens is, through eyes, when I get image of that object, what actually happens is, the mind goes out through the senses and takes shape. It covers that object and takes shape of that object. And that's how I come to know that object. So, every object that I perceive, I know it only through a thought. So, if I am perceiving a pot, what actually happens is, my mind has created a thought of pot. So, ghata means pot, is seen by me when there is a thought of the shape of the pot created by mind. Ghatakara vritti. Ghata akara vritti. Vritti means thought. The thought that takes akara, shape of ghata, pot. Through that thought, I get knowledge that this is pot. Ghatakara vritti gives me prama of ghata. Careful. My mind goes out through senses, covers the object, takes the shape of that object, and that thought which is of that shape of the object gives me knowledge of that object. This is called pratyaksha pramana. So, when I am seeing through the room, whatever objects I see, imagine how fast our mind will be taking shape of all those objects. And that's how I see them. Supercomputer here within us. Pratyaksha pramana. Okay. Now let us go to the second one. Second one is what? Anumana pramana. Anumana is inference. Pratyaksha was direct perception or perception. Anumana is inference. Now lot of discussion happens in this Anumana pramana. Why? Because it is inference. It is favorite pramana of Nyaya Darshana. What is that? Inference. Infer. See, the word also is very interesting. Anu. Anu means after. Paschat. Following. Mana means cognition. So, following some cognition, some other cognition is happening. That is called as inference. Following some cognition, some other cognition is happening, that is called as inference. The cognition that follows some other cognition, that is called as anumana. Anumana, inference. Don't say guess, okay? Guess and inference are very different. Guess has no logic behind it. Inference has logic behind it. We will see what is the logic behind it. So, the most famous example that is always given while explaining Anumana Pramana is that on a mountain I see smoke and I infer that there is fire. Do I see fire? No, I don't see fire. I see smoke coming out of a mountain and I infer that there is fire. Remember, if I see fire, then it is Pratyaksha Pramana. But what am I seeing? I am seeing smoke. Okay, if you are seeing smoke, then how did you come to know that there is fire? Now that process we will understand. So, for me to understand inference, the method that is used is called as Swarthanumanam. Swarthanumanam. Swartha means for one's own sake. For understanding inference, the method is Swarthanumana. And there are 4 things that I understand in the Swarthamanumana. What is that? First thing is, what is Sadhya? To be proved. What is to be proved? That there is fire. So, fire is Sadhya. Second thing is Paksha. Paksha means location. Where? On a mountain. So, mountain is Paksha, location. Third is Hetu. What is the cause? Cause is smoke. Smoke is not the cause of fire, okay? Cause is smoke means what? I see smoke is the cause of my inference. So, Sadhya is there is fire on the mountain. Location is on the mountain. What is the Hetu? Hetu is I see smoke. But how did you connect your Hetu to Sadhya? That is called as 4th aspect of it, called as Vyapti. Vyapti means Niyata Sahacharyam. Niyata Sahacharyam. Niyata means always. Sahacharyam means being together. It's called Niyata Sahacharyam. Invariable co-occurrence. Invariable means what? It is not moving. It's not that sometime they are together, sometime they are not. No. Invariable co-occurrence. They both are always together. Which both are always together? Fire and smoke. So, what do we say as Vyapti? Yatra yatra dhumaha tatra tatra vannihi. Wherever there is smoke, there is fire. Now, this is Vyapti. This invariable co-occurrence, unless we find, Anumana is not complete. Please remember. Whenever or wherever there is fire, there is smoke, there is fire. Okay? This is called Vyapti. So, what has happened? Now my Sadhya is fire. Location is mountain. Paksha is mountain. Hetu is I see smoke. Now, how do I come to know that from the smoke that fire is there? Because of Vyapti. What does Vyapti say? Wherever there is smoke, there is fire. Let us take another example. I see black clouds and I infer it is going to rain. Now, is it correct inference? No. Why? Because whenever there are black clouds, it doesn't rain. You see, Vyapti is not, it is not invariable co-occurrence. You never know. Sometimes, even without black clouds, you see rain. Sometimes, even when black clouds are there, you see there is no rain. So, just because I see black clouds doesn't mean that it will rain, because between black clouds and rain, there is no Vyapti. But smoke and fire, there is Vyapti. Right? It's an old example. In the olden days, there was no blue fire, which you have nowadays for gas, where there is fire but no smoke coming out of it. Okay? In the olden days, whenever they will see fire, there is smoke. So, wherever there is smoke, fire has to be there. I see smoke on the location of the mountain, fire has to be there. Is inference, perfect inference. Now, when I explain, this is for me arriving at an inference. But when I have to explain that inference to somebody else, it is called as pararthanumanam. Swarthanumanam for understanding inference, pararthanumanam for explaining that inference. And that pararthanumanam for explaining that inference, it is done in 5 sentences. Or rather, one sentence which has got 5 limbs, called as Panchavayava. We had seen 4 factors in Swarthanumanam: Sadhya, Paksha, Hetu and Vyapti. Now in Pararthanumana, when I have to explain that inference to somebody else, I use 5 steps, let us say. What is that? First one is called as Pratidnya. Pratidnya is, I am making a proposition. What is the proposition? Parvataha Vanhiman. The mountain is fiery. Fiery means has got fire on it. This is the proposition to be proved. I am proposing Parvato Vanhiman. Okay. Second step, Hetuhu. What is the reason? What is the cause? Dhumavatvat. Dhumavatvat, because it is endowed with smoke. I see smoke coming out of it. Second step is what? Hetuhu, reason. Third step, Udaharanam, example you give. Udaharanam is example. What is that? Yo dhumavan savanniman yatha mahanasaha. Mahanasaha means kitchen. See, I have seen in the kitchen that fire is there, smoke is there. So, whatever has smoke also has fire. What is the example? Example is kitchen. Okay. So, you had Pratidnya, the Hetu was there, you have Udaharanam. Now, connect that Udaharana to your location. That is called as the 4th step of Upanaya. Upanaya means subsumptive correlative. You connect. Subsumptive correlative means what? That example which you saw, now you have to connect. You saw in the kitchen that there was fire and always smoke is associated with. So, wherever there is smoke, you see fire, just like in kitchen. Now, bring that example and connect to your place. You see smoke. Therefore, the 5th step is what? Nigamanam, conclusion. What is the conclusion? Tasmat. Therefore, Tatha Parvataha Vanniman. The mountain is fiery. My Pratidnya has to match with my conclusion, okay? I made one proposition and I finally found out something else. Then that is not right. Okay? So, Pararthanumana has these 5 limbs, Panchavayava Vakya. What are they? Pratidnya, Hetuhu, Udaharanam, Upanayaha, Nigamanam. Right? So, through these 5 steps, I explain an inference. Now, of course, see, if Pratyaksha Pramana can be explained in hours, Anumana Pramana can be explained in days. Why? Because there is no end to it. They just go on and on and on, and if you Tarka Sangraha, etc., Nyaya, Darshanas, Granthas, if you read so much of inquiry on what we say, logic, etc., you will be used. What is called as correct Vyapti, what is called as wrong Vyapti, Anvaya Vyatireka method, etc., will be used, and different reasons they will say that what is correct Anumana, what is wrong Anumana. So many discussions continue, but this is the basic. Inference means what? I see something, I infer something else. How? Through a, what we say, invariable co-occurrence, through Vyapti. So I see something, I infer something else. Okay, that is called as Anumana Pramana. Okay, so Pratyaksha Pramana, Anumana Pramana. Third Pramana is Upamana Pramana. Upamana means comparison. Now here inference is not happening. Upamana is comparison is happening. Means what? Example. Somebody is going to forest. That person has never been to forest, and you say that this is a very special forest where you will see Nilgai. Nilgai is one animal. In Sanskrit it is called Gavayaha. Gavayaha. So one animal you will see Nilgai. But be careful, don't go too close to this Nilgai. Then obviously the person will ask, but how does that animal look? So you tell, it looks like cow, Gai, Gau. So it looks like cow. Now remember, the person has never seen Nilgai. But what have you told? That it looks like cow. Now when the person enters into forest and sees one animal that looks like cow, Prama happens that this is not cow, but this is like cow. This is Nilgai. Now remember, it is not Pratyaksha. I mean, the Prama, he is perceiving, but the Prama is happening not because of direct perception. Prama is happening because of comparison. If that comparison factor is not there, Prama will not happen. Remember, if somebody has not told me that Nilgai looks like cow, I will never be able to have that knowledge that this is Nilgai. Though I am perceiving, I won't know that this is Nilgai. Knowledge will not take place. I may perceive, but knowledge will not take place. So the knowledge in my mind is happening because of comparison. So direct perception with the resemblance of similarity. I have seen cow. Now this animal in front of me resembles cow, and I know that there is something called as Nilgai which is resembling cow. I understand this is Nilgai. So the Prama cognition that this is Nilgai happens to me not just because of direct perception, but because of comparison. It is called as third Pramana, Upamana Pramana. Upamana Pramana. Similarity. Okay. Another example also can be given. Somebody has tasted gulab jamun but has never tasted rasgulla. So then you tell that, rasgulla is like gulab jamun but is white in color. Is like gulab jamun. So the person, the moment he goes and sees that, oh, this looks like gulab jamun but is not gulab jamun, this must be rasgulla. Why? Because that comparison. I have seen gulab jamun. This looks like gulab jamun but is not, is similar to it. Then the Prama cognition that happens is, this is rasgulla. How that cognition knowledge happened? because of similarity. Direct perception with the remembrance of similarity. It's called as third pramana, upamana pramana. Now, please remember, in this upamana pramana, there is no vyapti. There is no sahachara, niyata sahacharya, etc. is not there. Isn't it? And therefore, it is different from anumana. Many people, they misunderstand, they think, not misunderstand, let me put it like this, they think that upamana is one kind of anumana only. Even within Nyaya, actually Nyaya Darshana, some scholars, they say that actually there are only three pramanas, Pratyaksha, Anumana and Shabda. Upamana, they consider it within Anumana. Why? Because they say that is also a kind of inference only. You heard about similarity with cow and then you inferred that this is Nilgai. It's also an inference. But you see the basic difference between Anumana and Upamana is what? In Anumana there is a Vyapti. That fire and smoke have to be always together. Without that Vyapti, inference is not possible. But here in Upamana there is no Vyapti. Also, in Anumana you are seeing one thing and inferring something else. In Upamana, you are seeing a thing and coming to the knowledge of the same thing. You are not inferring something else. You understand? Therefore, Anumana is a different pramana, Upamana is different pramana. This is our stand. Vedanta stand is this, that they are different. Why? Because there is no Vyapti and because this is different. You are perceiving something else and inferring something else in Anumana. That is not happening in Upamana. Right? So, these are all different means by which knowledge is happening. Pratyaksha, direct perception, knowledge happened. Anumana, through Vyapti, I perceived something, but I inferred something else. Upamana, what happened? When I perceived, I didn't know, but through similarity, by remembering the similarity, along with the perception, knowledge happened. That is called as Upamana Pramana. Let us go to the fourth pramana, Arthapatti. Arthapatti means postulation. Artha apatti. Anupapatti prasuta arthantara apatti. Arthantara apatti means arthantara prapti. I come to some other cause. Anupapatti means what? I see something, but I don't perceive its cause. Therefore, I postulate a cause. Careful. In Anumana Pramana, it is happening at that very moment. Fire and smoke are present in the same moment. Here what is happening is, I see something, but I don't see its cause. Therefore, I postulate some other cause. Example. First, let us see traditional example, then we will go to our colloquial example. Traditional example, what they give, they say, Devadattaha, there is some person called as Devadatta, Divana Bhungte. Bhungte, not in Marathi. Bhungte in Marathi means one who what we say, barks. No, Bhungte means eats. Diva, in the day, na bhungte, does not eat. We don't see Devadatta eating in the day. Pinaha bhavati, but is becoming fat. See, I see an effect. What is the effect? That Devadatta is becoming fat. But I don't see cause. Why? Because I don't see him eating in the day. Therefore, what do I postulate? Ratrau bhungte. He eats in the night. When everybody goes, he is quietly in his room, he is eating. Why? Without that, how will he become fat? You understand how this Arthapatti Pramana works? I see something, but its cause is not seen. Therefore, I postulate some other cause. That is called Arthapatti Pramana. Okay, that method of arriving at cognition is called as arthapatti. Now, this is traditional example. Now, colloquial example. In the day you open your door and you see that the full garden or backyard or front yard or balcony or gallery is wet. Full, or road that you see in front is wet. So you look here and there, who did it, you don't see the cause. What is the postulation? It must have rained at night. Did you see it raining? No. See, if you saw the rain, then it is direct perception. Then there is nothing. You didn't see the rain. You saw the effect. You don't see any other cause. You postulate a cause. That is called. So the knowledge that happens by postulation, pramad happens by postulation, then at such places arthapatti pramana is working. Arthapatti pramana is working. All right. So this arthapatti pramana actually works in cause-effect relationship. We see world, effect. We don't see anybody who has created this world. We postulate there has to be cause of this world. And since we don't know the cause, we call it as X, God. We know when the road is wet that it has happened because of rain. We know the cause, therefore we can postulate the cause directly. Now in case of the cause of the world, we don't know what is the cause, therefore we call it as X, we call it as God, we call it Om, we call it anything. So this cause hunting is what we say is a purview, is an area of arthapatti pramana. Arthapatti pramana works in this cause-effect relationship, the cause of which is not immediately seen, okay? Now you open the door and you see the neighbor watering the plants and therefore the garden is wet, then the cause is seen, then that is not arthapatti. I don't see the cause. If Devadatta is eating in the day, there is no need of arthapatti. But he does not eat in the day, still is becoming fat. That's where postulation comes in, and you say must be eating at night. That's called postulation. If the cause is seen, then it is direct perception. Cause is not seen, but it is postulated. Now again you remember, this is not inference. Inference is happening at that very moment. That niyata sahacharya is niyata means always together. The moment fire is there, smoke is there. It's not that I saw smoke, therefore before it must have happened that there was fire. No, where fire, smoke at the same time. Here arthapatti is not like that. We are talking about cause-effect relationship, not at that very moment. So again arthapatti is different from anumana. Nyaya darshana will take arthapatti as part of anumana pramana. They don't accept arthapatti pramana. Right? But that is the difference. Right. Fifth one, very interesting. Anupalabdhi pramana. Anupalabdhi means non-perception, non-availability, non-perception. Anupalabdhi pramana. Very, very, very interesting. What do you mean by that? Let us see. So, what is there in my hand? In my hand, what is there in my hand? Watch. Now, the knowledge of watch happened to you how? Pratyaksha pramana. You saw with your own eyes. Now, what is there in my hand? Nothing is there. Now, that knowledge of nothing happened to you how? You can't say Pratyaksha Pramana. Because for Pratyaksha Pramana to work, there should be an object that mind takes the shape of. There is nothing. So mind cannot take, see, if I perceive some object, it will be Pratyaksha. If I perceive nothingness, it cannot be perception, it cannot be Pratyaksha. So for that purpose, we have this separate pramana called Anupalabdhi. No Upalabdhi. There was watch before, but now that is not there, therefore there is nothing. This nothing is not perceived, but I have got the knowledge of non-perception, non-availability of that object or of all the objects, actually speaking. See, I am saying that this watch is there and now there is nothing. In place of watch, if I keep something else, then I will perceive that thing. It's a remote. But non-perception, non-availability of all objects is what is called as Anupalabdhi Pramana, is what happens in Anupalabdhi Pramana. Are you getting it? So, I see that there is no tiger in the room. I see, okay, you can't see, but I see that there is no tiger in the room. Now, how do I know? Don't say it is Pratyaksha. If there is tiger in the room and I say that there is tiger, then it is Pratyaksha. A tiger is not in the room. How can I perceive non-availability? Not through Pratyaksha, through Anupalabdhi Pramana. Now, you see, so I see that it is not there. Now, of course, you can easily understand why Nyaya Darshana doesn't accept this. They say that is also Pratyaksha only. Because you are seeing, there is nothing. Since you are seeing, it is Pratyaksha. And you also understand now why Mimamsa or why Vedanta, Purva Mimamsa, Uttara Mimamsa, etc. don't accept this logic and say that no, Anupalabdhi has to be separate Pramana. You understand both the sides, okay? We don't have to prove and tell that no, Nyaya is wrong. They believe in this, we believe in that. That's it. Now, in sleep, what happens? When I sleep, there is absolute absence of all objects. Yes or no? All of us have experience of sleep or no? Yes. When we get up, we say, I slept so nicely, nothing was there. How did you perceive nothing? Not through Pratyaksha. Because remember, in sleep, no senses are working. No senses are working. It cannot be Pratyaksha. How did you experience nothing? Through Anupalabdhi. Through Anupalabdhi Pramana, I got Prama that there was nothing. Now, if you have closely followed so far, you will understand one thing, that each Pramana has got its own area or purview where it is active. It is said, Swavishaye Pramanaha Shuraha. Swavishaye Pramanaha Shuraha. In its own purview, that Pramana is powerful. For example, for me to gain the knowledge of watch which is right in front of my eyes, which Pramana I have to use? Pratyaksha only I have to use. Inference, comparison, postulation will not work. Why? Because this is purview of Pratyaksha Pramana. So what are these purviews? So for Pratyaksha Pramana, what is the purview? Whatever is perceived here and now is the purview of Pratyaksha Pramana. And perceived means what? Through all five senses. Not just seen, but sound, smell, taste, touch. Everything that is here and now is the purview of Pratyaksha Pramana. What is the purview of in Anumana Pramana? Anumana Pramana is talking about inference which is a result of Vyapti. Remember that. That is the purview of Anumana Pramana. Example, I am talking, therefore I am alive. Is Anumana. See, do you see my life? You don't see my life principle. But that life principle is there in me. How do you know? Because you see the expression of it. Why? Because the life is there, a person will talk. But remember, there is no Vyapti there. I may remain without talking and still be living. You understand where is the problem? But it is still an inference. I don't perceive it, but I infer it. Anumana. Upamana. What is the purview of Upamana? Similarity is purview of Upamana. Unless there is a comparison, there is similarity, Upamana Pramana will not work. Upamana Pramana will not work. Arthapatti. What is the purview of Arthapatti? Postulation. Wherever there is cause-effect relationship, that cause-effect relationship is the purview of Arthapatti. And that too where the effect is seen but the cause is not seen. That's where the postulation will come into picture. And Anupalabdhi, what is the purview? Non-availability. Absence is the purview of Anupalabdhi. Now, the last Pramana, why we have kept Shabda Pramana as the last Pramana? Because its purview is all of the above. Whatever was the, what we say, purview of Pratyaksha, Anumana, Upamana, Arthapatti, Anupalabdhi, everything is to be included in Shabda Pramana. Example I will give. This is watch. This is watch. Now for me to gain knowledge that this is watch, somebody has told me in the past that this is watch. Only perception will not give me knowledge unless I know what it is. Rupa jnana nahi nama vihina. Tulsidas ji says that form or knowledge is not without a name. Somebody has told me that this is watch. Therefore, when I see it, I get knowledge that this is watch. So, perception is not sufficient. I must have knowledge. Now, you can apply this for all pramanas. Anumana means what? Are somebody told me that this is fire, this is smoke. Wherever there is fire, where smoke, there is fire. This knowledge I got, then only I can infer. Pratyaksha, Anumana, Upamana. Similarity. Somebody told me, isn't it? That Nilgai looks like guy, cow. Arthapatti. Somebody told me about the cause of wet floor, which is rain. Anupalabdhi. There is nothing. Lion is not there. Somebody told me, no, lion looks like this. And therefore, when I look around, I say that no, nothing like that looks like that is here. Therefore, I come to a conclusion that lion is not there. For everything, Shabda Pramana is important. Number one. Second point important, you see, in Vedanta, Prameya, object of knowledge is what? Brahman. Brahman is what I want to know. My own nature is what I want to know. Now that Brahman cannot be gained or known through any of the above pramanas. Can it be seen? Pratyaksha Pramana, not possible, because it is not gross, something that can be seen. Can it be inferred? No. Why? Intellect cannot reach. Naisha tarkena matirapaneya, Kathopanishad says. Can it be? Is it similar to something? No, it is not similar to anything. Anupamam. Anupamam means no upama. No upama you can give, no similarity is there. There is nothing like Brahman. What will you call, what upama will you give? What similarity will you tell? It's not there. Is it in a cause-effect relationship? No. Why? Because it is neither the cause nor the effect. It has not created anything, nor has it been created by something else. Is it non-available? No, it is there. So even Anupalabdhi Pramana won't work. So the only Pramana that works is Shabda Pramana. What is Shabda Pramana? Shabda Pramana in English is verbal testimony. Verbal testimony. Now again Shabda Pramana is accepted by Nyaya. We saw. So Nyaya has done elaborate explanation of Shabda Pramana. They explain everything. See how great our ancestors were. In any branch, they have gone so deep. You will see. So Shabda, we say Pramana, no? They start defining everything. What is Shabda here? Shabda is not just sound. Shabda here not just word. But what do they say? Aptavakyam Shabda. In Pramana, Shabda means what? A sentence uttered by Apta. By Apta means what? Apta is what? Explain. They themselves are going to define everything. Who is Apta? Aptastu Yathartha Vakta. A reliable speaker. Yathartha Vakta. One who speaks as one has perceived. That person is called as Apta. And Vakya means what? Vakyam pada samuha. Vakya is collection of words. See, that is called as analysis. Nyaya, logic, no, you are talking about logic. You see how they, this is directly from Tarka Sangraha I am telling you. They will define it like this. Apta Vakyam Shabdaha. Then Apta means what? Aptastu Yathartha Vakta. Vakya means what? Vakyam Pada Samuha. Now while defining Vakya Pada Samuha, one more word has come, Pada. What is word? What is Padam? Shaktam Padam. That which has Shakti is called word. Asmat Padat Ayam Arthaha Bodhavyaha Iti Ishvara Sanketaha Shakti. Now the next question comes, what is Shakti in Padam? They will explain that for this kind of word, this kind of meaning is to be understood like that Ishvara has done a Sanketa, that is called as Shakti. What is Padam? According to Vyakarana Shastra also they will say Suptingantam Padam, etc. The analysis goes on and on. The point is very simple. When a reliable source tells me something, knowledge happens to me. That happens through Shabda Pramana. This is watch. When first time I saw watch, somebody told me this is watch. And I believed in that person. Why? Because he was a reliable source. Remember, if source is not reliable, then the cognition will be wrong. It happens. I came here in Kerala. They understood that this fellow has come from Maharashtra, doesn't understand Malayalam. So what? Vedji, we will teach you Malayalam. Anybody says or does anything to you, you have to say thank you. How to say thank you in Malayalam? You say Panni. Now, I know little bit of Tamil. I know in Tamil thank you means Nandri. Tamil and Malayalam are very close. I have heard people saying Nanni. Nanni means thank you. Now that person is telling me Panni means thank you. I get wrong cognition. Why? Because Panni in Malayalam means a pig. Why? Because Apta is not there. Now if I don't understand and if I stick to the fact that okay, Panni means thank you, every single person who does anything to me, I will call him a pig. Wrong cognition, wrong expression. Aptavakyam Shabdaha. Now the problem is, it says, Loketu Aptavakyam Kaschid Durlabham. In the world, Apta is very difficult. Why? Because everybody perceives but has got many faults in everybody's perception. They speak of 4 kinds of faults. See, they are not saying that a person is purposely telling wrong. I gave example of a person purposely telling me wrong. That is not necessary, but it is possible that that person may be telling what he perceived, but he might have perceived wrongly. Yathartha Vakta, but that person has to be Yathartha Drashta also. If that person has seen correctly, then only he can tell correctly. But in perceiving correctly only there are problems. What are the problems? 4 problems, 4 doshas, 4 faults are there. Brahma, misunderstanding. Oh, it is water. I thought it is something else. Brahma. Pramada, carelessness. I didn't see only properly. Brahma, Pramada. Karana Patava means fault with my instruments. My eyes are gone now, power is reduced now, I can't see anything properly which is very far. The fault with an instrument. And 4th problem is called Vipralipsa, very interesting fault. Vipralipsa means Vipralipsa. Vipra means I am very Vipra means knowledgeable. This kind of lipsa, this kind of feeling comes to us. So I am not ready to accept anything. So I say whatever I saw, that's what it is. It's also a fault. Why? Because then you are not seeing what actually is there. You believe whatever you saw is true. So in Laukika, in the world, for becoming Apta, there is a problem. Everybody cannot become Apta. Durlabha, Kaschit Durlabha. Very rarely somebody can become Apta. Therefore, what is the final Shabda Pramana? Final Shabda Pramana is Veda. Veda is a final Shabda Pramana. Why? Number 1 reason, because it does not have these 4 doshas. These 4 faults are not there. Number 1. Number 2, it has got fixed sequence of words. See, that's the beauty of our culture. See, Veda is protected in such a beautiful manner that no word, no letter will be missed. So there are different pathas, you might have heard, different way they chant Vedas. And that is done only because no word should be lost. Sometimes when we are chanting something, we sometimes forget one verse. Vishnu Sahasranam, one entire verse we forget. Why? Because we go on and on and on, we forget that one verse is missed. Now in Veda that is not possible. Why? Because they have different kinds of pathas, different kinds of way that they chant. So suppose I'll just give you example, I am not going to go in detail, but just one example. Gayatri mantra, suppose it is there. Om Bhurbhuvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Na Prachodayat. Now I may say Om Bhurbhuvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam, Suvaha I have missed. But in order that no word should be missed, they have pathas. They will say Om, Om Bhuhu, Om Bhuhu, Om Bhuhu, Bhuvaha, Bhuhu, Om Bhuhu, Bhuva, Suvaha, Bhuva. Like that they will chant. So that which word is first, which word comes after that which word comes, before that which word comes, everything is niyata, fixed. No word is missed. Not only that, niyata swara vyavastha. Even the intonation does not change. Where it has to go up, where it has to come down, everything is fixed. So when we are chanting Purush Sukta, it has to be chanted in that intonation. Why? Because the meaning of the word changes according to the intonation. Udatta, Anudatta, etc. Om Sahasrashirsha Purusha Sahasrakshas Sahasrapat Sabhumim Vishvato Vritva. It has to go in that fashion. Nobody else will chant. Those who know Veda chanting, they will chant in that Niyata Swara. It is fixed. Third reason. Fourth reason is what? Already we discussed. The Vishaya of Veda is Parabrahma, which is beyond senses. So no other pramana will work there. Atindriya Alaukika Vishaye Vedaha Pramanam. Veda is the final authority in the subject matter which is beyond senses. Right? Dharma jidnyasamananam, Brahma jidnyasamananam, Pramanam Paramam Shrutihi. Paramam Pramanam. What is the final Pramana? For dharma jidnyasu or for brahma jidnyasu, those who want to know dharma or those who want to know what is brahma, the final pramana is Shruti, Veda. Okay, so Veda is the Shabda Pramana, final authority. Final, the last reason is Sarvartha Prakashakatvat Vedo Brahma. Because Veda speaks about everything. Why? Because it speaks about Brahman, which is everything. And therefore, it is the final authority. You understand? So, these 6 pramanas that we have seen, we understand that all the pramanas will work in their own fields. But Shabda Pramana works in all fields. We have to understand Pramana is the, Pratyaksha Pramana is the basic, because all other knowledge is dependent on Pratyaksha. But even that Pratyaksha is dependent on Shabda, don't forget. Without knowing that this is watch, I will never get knowledge that this is watch. Even if I perceive, I may not get knowledge. Right? These 6 pramanas, not all pramanas are accepted by all darshanas we have seen. Right? Nyaya Darshana accepts 4, sometimes 3, but 4 mainly. Pratyaksha, Anumana, Upamana and Shabda. But Vedanta Shastra, Purva Mimamsa also accepts all 6. Alright. That much is sufficient for the overview of this pramana, means of knowledge. Now we want to know about Brahman. What is the means? Not Pratyaksha, Anumana, Upamana, Arthapatya, Anupalabdhi, Shabda Pramana only will work. Therefore, we have to study Vedas. In Vedas also, Vedanta, the end portion of Vedas, we speak about Brahman. The Purva, the first section of Veda will speak about Dharma. I want to know Brahma. So, the second section. What is the second section? That is Upanishad. Now, to understand and study the Upanishads, I have to first study Prakarana Granthas. That's what we are going to do from next week. Right? You study Prakarana Granthas, you prepare your mind, then study the Upanishads, the Vedas, the Upanishads, the Bhagavad Gita and the Brahma Sutra. That is the way to go forward. Sufficient for today. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.